Hello, photographers, designers, and other freelance creatives. Welcome to this episode of Coaching for Creatives. I am McKay, and I'm a business coach and the founder of Business of Creativity, where we are committed to helping photographers, graphic designers, and freelance creatives just like you earn more, stress less, and grow their business with confidence. In this episode of Coaching for Creatives, we're going to talk about getting ghosted. And yes, I know that ghosted is typically something that we hear about in the world of dating. And if you've been doing any marketing for very long, you're probably familiar with people using dating as a marketing metaphor. Meaning that if you look at the buyer's journey of getting to know someone, getting to trust them and like them, and then inviting them to do business with you, it's kind of like dating, where you get to know someone, you start to like them and trust them, and then maybe you invite them on a date. And the equivalent of being a freelancer and doing all of this work to attract a potential prospect or client through your marketing and your social media, and then nurturing them through emails and conversations, maybe then inviting them to do business with you by doing the work to prepare a quote or proposal, and then you send it out and nothing but crickets. It's heartbreaking. And then there's all the stress about how do you follow up, and when do you follow up, and what do you say when you're following up, and when are you being too needy, and it becomes just this really burdensome thing when you are sending out quotes or sending out a proposal and then you never hear from the prospect again. Really frustrating. You don't get any feedback. You don't have an opportunity to handle any of the objections. And a lot of times you can just be sitting there, like keeping your fingers crossed. A couple of things. One is, if you're already in this position of fingers crossed and waiting for someone to get back to you, I have a little bit of a funny story. I guess it's not that funny. It turned out okay. But I encourage you to reach out and follow up and just ask the question about, where are we at with that proposal I sent? Is there anything else that you need from me? That gives the other person an opportunity to ask additional questions. It makes it clear that you haven't heard a response. Here's the kind of odd story. I have a client who sent out a proposal, and it was a big proposal, one that she worked on for a lot of time. She'd had great conversations with her lead, and she couldn't get in front of the decision makers, but she really trusted that her contact was going to be a great ambassador and take this proposal and get it in front of the right people. And she worked really hard on this. And it was like a $20,000 proposal. And she sent it out and was expecting to hear something back within about a week or 10 days. And then 2 weeks went by. And then 3 weeks went by. And then it was like almost 4 weeks later. And she asked me, what should I do? I feel terrible. And I thought we were on the right track and everything sounded great. And I don't know why, like, all of a sudden, they're just ghosting me. And encouraged her to reach out and say pretty much the same thing that I just suggested. And guess what? They thought they had sent the contract back with a heck yeah. They thought they had already said, go ahead, let's do it. And maybe they had, but there was no record in her email. There was no record in her spam or her junk mail. And in fact, they were waiting for her to start the project and were wondering what had happened. And had she not reached out and followed up, she would have not gotten that client. However, this episode is about having it so that you don't have to be in that position, where you're in the position of waiting for someone to get back to you on a quote or a proposal and you're just not hearing anything. The number one tip I have for you is, whenever you're going to create a quote or create a proposal, ask for an opportunity to present that proposal or present that quote to the decision makers. This is really great in two different ways. One, asking to present your quote to the decision makers means that you're much more likely to be in front of the people who have the power to say yes to your proposal. Instead of leaving it in the hands of an ambassador or a gatekeeper and just hoping that they're going to have everything that they need to be your champion, making sure that you can actually present your proposal to those decision makers gives you a chance to be in front of the people that can say yes. And by presenting your proposal, you get to walk them through all of the elements of your proposal, and you can handle any objections along the way before you get to the investment amount. You can walk them through connecting them back to why this project matters to them, to that impact, the urgency, the uniqueness. You can remind them why you are the right choice for it. You can remind them about the scope and the desired outcomes. And then you can present the investment in a way that allows you to build on that energy and emotion to handle any of the objections all at once. You might be thinking, okay, great, Aura, but how do I do that? How do I make sure that I am always presenting my proposals and my quotes? This episode is for anybody who is doing custom quotes or custom proposals. If you're already selling packages, then this is a different kind of conversation for you. But custom quoting, one of the ways that you can set yourself up for being able to present your proposal and quote, and thereby not waiting for somebody to get back to you. You have a date on your calendar when you're going to have the proposal conversation. Being able to do that requires a two-part sales process. And that two-part sales process involves the first conversation, which is the discovery part, where you're discovering what is their dream outcome, what is their desired results, what does it look like when you guys hit it out of the park. You're also doing some discovery about what they might have tried before, what they've already considered and rejected, so that you don't make any suggestions about things that maybe they've already tried on and aren't interested in. And also, you know, how far along in the decision making process are they? And you get them to really answer the questions. Why aren't you keeping this in house? Why not give it to Bob in accounting to do? And they tell you why they're not choosing an alternative. You can even ask the question, why me? What was it about me or our services that caused you to reach out? So that you get insight into what matters to them and why they're excited to get your proposal. And part of what you're doing there is you're also really understanding, is this a project that's going to be worth it to me? Is this a project that's going to be the kind of scope and size of project that I like, that's going to fill me up with contentment, where I know that I can uniquely make a difference? That's conversation number one. And of course, I have a framework for how to move through that sales conversation. That framework is available in the Confident Creative membership and in the Business Mastery. And you get all of the skills to be able to navigate that initial sales conversation. And at the end of part one of that sales conversation, you're going to ask a critical question, which is, if I were to prepare a proposal for you that was between X and X amount, would that work for you? And then you wait and you get a soft yes. You get a soft yes on, yeah, I think that would be a reasonable range for your proposal. Yeah, that does sound about what like we were considering. And this means that you're not wasting your time building proposals for people who then go, oh my gosh, that was totally not the amount that we thought. This means they already know approximately what their investment is going to be, and they're ready to see a proposal that is at that amount. This is part of normalizing having conversations about money. This is another way of asking, what's your budget, without asking what's your budget. Part one is all about the scope discovery, the impact discovery, the urgency and uniqueness, and also what they've rejected, and what kind of value range they're looking at investing in this project. Once you have that, then you can say, great, I'm going to go and prepare a in-depth proposal that meets all of these needs. Are you and the decision makers available on Thursday to have a call on it? Or are you and the decision makers available next week for us to be able to go through it together? And you book that appointment before you get off the phone. You already have an appointment to present your proposals. No more emailing it and then never hearing from them. You get to walk through the proposal and understand in that conversation, what are the objections? Or if they need more information, you're right there and able to deliver that information in the moment to the decision makers so that your proposals don't get ghosted again. I'd love to hear from you if you've made it all the way through to this video. Do you have any questions? Do you already book appointments for presenting your proposal? What is your biggest frustration when it comes to sending out proposals to your clients? Thank you so much for joining me here live. This has been Coaching for Creatives. I look forward to seeing you next time.